we're gonna go ahead and I couldn't run the overhead if I wanted to last night, because on these older ISXs with this dual overhead cams, it's pretty critical that you adjust your injectors with a dial type torque wrench. Don't adjust them with a click type torque wrench. So that's what we're going to do now, is start running the valves on it. I'm on cylinder number 2, so I got to adjust cylinder number 2, and I got to set the jakes. And right now I have to get quick serve fired up and look at all the specs. It's 14 and 27 intake and exhaust. The long rockers are the intakes, the short rockers are the exhaust valves. This is your jake, and I'll show you the tool for that. That 276 thousandths on the jakes, and then don't remember what the inch pounds. I'll have to look that up. I don't remember the inch pound setting for the injectors, but we'll go over that once I get quick serve fired up on the laptop. I went home last night. I got home, and you know, it's just, my life's so chaotic, you know. I'm so busy that, here's the deal. I know you don't want to hear my life story, but here's the deal, you know. Even one of my customers said, you shouldn't be cutting firewood. You should be, because I told him I needed some firewood for the winter. Okay, for a couple years there, I was getting firewood from people, you know, and I had one guy that was telling me, he was selling me a cord of wood, and he was selling me about a half a cord of wood. I guess he thought I was stupid and couldn't figure out what a cord of wood was, you know, and that went on for a couple years, and you know, and I finally got tired of that shit. And then I called this other guy to get me, I said I need about 5 cords of wood for the winter, 5 to 6 cords. And the first cord he bought, I just told him don't come back. I mean, we unloaded it in the driveway there by my house, and you should have seen the bugs and the termites and shit coming out of it, just full of holes. And I just told the guy right there, I said, I'll burn this. I said, but we got to burn it in a hurry so the termites don't get in my house. I wanted to call him all kinds of names, you know. What the hell's the matter with you, you know? So I just gave up, because you can't get anybody to do anything right, or just, it's all chicken shit, you know. So I just got to do it myself. So here next weekend, I think we just got to go out and cut some more wood so we can get through the winter. You just can't get people to do shit right, you know, and treat you right. That's just the way it is anymore, you know. And they want $150, $200 for a cord for wood for stuff that's going to destroy your house, you know, with bug infestation. So anyways, or they sell you a cord of wood and give you half a cord of wood and charge you $150. So anyway, upwards and onwards, I guess. Alright guys, we're going to start on the valve adjustment here. We're on B actually, and we're on cylinder number 2, so we'll start down here on B, set injector 2, set cylinder valve 2, set brake cylinder 2. It's basically everything set on the same cylinder. Okay, let's go. Let's see, I guess I'll set you, trying to figure out where I'm going to set you at. Let me get you up in here, and that's not metal, that's aluminum or something the firewall is, so that ain't going to work. What if I stick it on this somewhere? Well, let's stay there. No, it won't stay there either, I don't think. Yeah, that ain't too bad, huh? I guess we can see cylinder number 2 there. So let's start out on the injector, okay? This is a CDI dial type torque wrench, okay? Just gotta watch it. And we're gonna go to 71 inch-pounds on this injector. Okay, so what we want to do here, I'm gonna back it off first. Then I'm gonna try to squeeze a little bit of that oil out of the injector. Alright, so let's go to 71 inch-pounds. I got my little, this particular torque wrench has got a little dial here. You can set it kind of to where you want it. And for some reason that's moved on me. 55, 60, 55, 70, right around in there. That's pretty close right there. Now, set our valves. Exhaust intake. Intake is 14, exhaust is 27 thousandths. I forgot to grab a ratchet, darn it. Hold on, I'll be right back. Alright. Fucking feeler gauges. Okay, now that I got my ducks in a row, 14 and 27, so I'm gonna read that. Water stain on it or something, or a little rust got on it. 14, okay. I'm gonna get switch hands here. Tricky trying to get them underneath the I've got the Cummins T-handle 5 to 6 inch-pound torque wrench for doing this, but I don't have an Allen on these that'll go to 6 millimeter. It's 1/4 inch drive, and I used to have an adapter and I don't know where in the hell it went. Double-ended wrench, I always seem to get the wrong one on there. It's kind of a firm pull. That's the reason they Cummins tells you to use the 5 to 6 inch-pound torque wrench, because everybody has a different feel. Everything's not going to be the same, so slip out of there like that, you can't get it back under the little slipper there on it. Get it back way off to get it back underneath there. Gosh dang it, just like that. Every single time. Slips out of there. Come on, switch directions on me. Not cooperating very well, Ratchet. Everything's cold. Nothing's wanting to move anywhere. I know it's not 40 below zero, and we're not real men, because it's not 40 below zero. Just anytime you ever say anything about cold or hot, somebody's got to say it's colder somewhere or it's hotter somewhere. It just never ends. It just never ends, I'm telling you, with people. It's just certain things you just can't even say on the internet, period. There's, you know, somebody's always got to say something, you know, and just, God, it just never ends with people that run their mouths. All right. So our injector's set. Both valves are set. Let's go set 13, or is that 12? Okay, so it must be 13. Don't work on a lot of these older. Not that many of them around here anymore. Okay, so this is the tool. For this, it's 276 thousandths. For some reason I'm having trouble getting the dirty sucker up in there. Why is that being so? It's not making any sense. Huh. There it goes. The hell of a time there trying to. They're kind of tricky trying to get them up underneath there. They really are. Sure, I'm grabbing the right end here on this double-ended wrench. Okay, everything's set on this cylinder. Now we go to, so that's 15362. Cylinder number 4 will be next. Not much place to set stuff here. So let me get her barred over to the next accessory drive marked. Cylinder number 4 should be the next one to adjust. Okay, let's go with the injector. Around in there. I don't ever have any troubles with these turning like a valve, so I just tighten the jam nut down on it. What I'm gonna do here, so exhaust. That way than even using the ratchet. Yeah, that's a hell of a lot easier way than using that ratchet. Come to think of it, Doug got me a tool for this. I wonder if it's in the truck. I think it's at home. That would be perfect for this, darn it. Yeah, it's at home in the toolbox. So that don't do me any good right now. Doug, he was from Sacramento, and he retired, and him and his wife moved to Lubbock, Texas. I lived in Lubbock, Texas for about, I don't know, 6 months, I think. Long time ago. Yeah, see, that one turned on me. No good. Doug is one of the Californians that is good people, good to have in the asset column in Texas. But the only bad thing is there's a lot of Californians that are not very good for the asset column in Texas that move to Texas. Eventually Texas will turn blue just like every other place. So I'll just stay where I am. Yeah, these are hard to see here. There, I think I'm there. So I have no lash there, so it should be. Okay, so everything's set on this cylinder. Now we go to 1, 5, 3, 6, 2, 4, back to 1. Okay, pretty much the same old song and dance. I'm gonna set the injector first. kind of curious just to see kind of where it's set right now before it moves. That's weird. Huh. It's way out. It's like it's way too tight or something. They tell you to do this and squeeze the oil out of them. Trying to think what I did with the 15/16 that I just had. Okay. $19mm. Yeah, I know I'm not bitching about Trent. It's good that Trent's helping me, and I really appreciate it, you know, but it's just, I have to learn to be patient. I realize, I mean, sometimes I get a little bit impatient, and I shouldn't. I've been trying to let him do more. Just like that Dodge pickup over there, I'm gonna have to take my time to show him. You know, we got to do the compression check on it over there, and things like that to make sure that's getting done properly, and that it's getting diagnosed properly. It's one of those things. It's somebody else got into it and worked on it, and now we got to go back and fix it. So you really, it's tough when you're doing that, because then it's hard to teach a young guy on a situation. If it was just, if this thing would have came in with the collapsed lifter, we could have diagnosed the one misfire on the cylinder, and it would have been way, way easier, you know. So it's kind of a tough one to learn on when somebody else has been into it, and then you're trying to figure out what they did for a young guy like that. I mean, I was getting a little frustrated the other day. I was in a hurry, you know. I got a lot of stuff going on, and I was just wanting it to be simpler than what it was. And it was turning out to be, like everything else it seems like that I get my hands on, a way overcomplicated ordeal that we're gonna have to tear the whole damn thing apart and rebuild it, because it's totally wrecked. That, I mean, I'm almost 100% certain, without doing the compression check, which I'm still gonna do. I don't even know if I explained it in this video, but I'll explain it again if I didn't. That Dodge over there's got a 5.7 liter Hemi in it, and the guy had taken it into town, and somebody told him he needed a new engine because the cam was bad in it. So he decided to fix it himself, which the guy's very mechanically inclined. He builds race cars and stuff like that. Some of the newer stuff I don't think he's as up to date on as some of us younger guys are. He's an older guy. You know, if it was a small block 350 Chevy or an old Hemi, yeah, he'd be all over it, make that thing run like a top. But this new stuff, electronic wise, and he just doesn't, you know, he's just not up to date on this stuff. But he gave her a whirl, and damn it, I keep slipping out of there. This one's hard to. But he decided to fix it himself, and he put a cam and lifters in it. It had a collapsed lifter is all it was wrong with it, but he put a cam in it anyway. And my 19mm. You need a whole toolbox full of tools to set the overheads on one of these things. Okay. And so we got into it, and it had some, those Hemis and those Dodges, I'm trying to remember what they call that. It's got a deactivation where it'll deactivate 4 cylinders. And what it does, somehow it sends oil to collapse the lifter in it to deactivate that cylinder when the engine overheats, to protect the engine. Well, that has some kind of problem with it electrically, and so he bought this. It's like a Predator tuner or something like that. That's what it's called. I'm trying to get this sucker to. There we go. You gotta find the magic spot with these. And he was gonna, which it works. He didn't know how to run it though. So I figured out how to put the tune in it to basically it deletes that function. That's before you get your panties in the wall. That's not an emissions delete. That's just a safety feature on that engine. So we did that. We got rid of those 4 codes because it had codes for all 4 cylinders on that deactivation circuit. So we got rid of those. And then it had a coil number 8 or something like that, ionization code. Well, I looked it up on Identifix and started going through the procedure, and then I unplugged the coil. Those Hemis got 2 spark plugs per cylinder, and I got on that coil and I unplugged it, and I just kind of noticed it looked like that one terminal was burnt just a little bit, and I looked, and that the terminals on the harness side were spread. So I cleaned them up with a pick, and then I collapsed them and bent them, plugged it back in, and that got rid of that code. So then the only code we could get, I mean, it absolutely runs like shit, clatters really bad. I knew when it was running. I told Trent, I says, I think he's got it out of time and it's got bent valves. And then the only code we could get to come back was a PO300, multiple cylinder misfire. And we kept messing with stuff. But anyways, long story short, it was missing on 1, 7, and 8. And 1's really bad. So I'm pretty certain he got it out of time and bent valves. So we're going to have to do a compression check on it. Let's see, let me go over to, so 153615. So go back to the B mark, cylinder number 5. I don't know, I gotta get up in the morning, and I got about a cord of wood I need to split, get it in the wood box in the house. I'm behind the 8 ball. I'm gonna have to go cut some firewood so we can make it through the rest of the winter. Probably next weekend or something like that. Exhaust. Where's the feeder gauge? 7 thousandths. I do, I always grab the wrong end. I guess I should look at it before I stick it on there. I think I finally got this lift pump maybe to pick up. I'm going to cycle the key one more time on it. I left the valve cover off right now. I want to make sure everything's oiling and everything. I'm going to have to hook the laptop up to it too. The engine warning light's on. I don't know what that's all about yet. Everything plugged in correctly, or what's the deal, man? Let's cycle her one more time. Turn the key off, let it set for just a little bit, and we'll just crank on it. It'll do a lot of bit of cranking before it'll fire, but we'll see what it does. Cycle this key and let this lift pump run one more time. I dumped 10 gallons in each side. See some more air bubbles there. A lot of air. You might be cycling it another time or two. See if we can get this air worked out of the system. Look at all that air. That's crazy, huh? Trying to get it all out of the head and everything else. The fuel level's kind of disappearing there, but not even in the filter anymore. I don't know if I got enough fuel. These are pretty big tanks on this truck. So I don't know if 10 gallons in each side is going to be enough to make it pick up or not. Looks like the pump's sucking air again. I think I'm going to have to put more fuel in this bastard. We'll see what happens, I guess. I'm having my doubts. I'm having my doubts. We'll let her cool down. Let's start her cool down for a while. And I don't know. I think I got a feeling I'll have to go get more fuel and dump in it. I don't think I got enough fuel in it to make it pick up. I poured some fuel in here and overfilled it, and I'm gonna have to go out and wash this thing off. I don't know. We'll see what happens. system is clattering. It might need a set of injectors. It's smoothing out now. Sound a little better now. There's just a bunch of air in the system. Yeah, that's air. That's air in it. Got to get all that air out of the system. Oil pressure's good. I gotta see what the engine warning's all about. I don't know why it's doing that. I don't know why it's doing that, but it did that before I worked on it too. Well, we know she's oiling everything up on top. Let me let all the oil drain back down. I poured 12 gallons on it, but everything might be sitting, draining back down. The oil's cold. She's definitely oiling sufficiently. Yeah, she's, all the valve bridges are wet there. It's wet here around the rockers. That is what we want. We want oil in there. Yeah, a lot of oil sits up in these heads and takes time to drain back down into the pan. Especially when that oil's cold and thick. It takes a while to get everything settled out, so don't get too excited and start pulling the dipstick and getting too worried till you let her settle a little while and let her settle back down. So far, I'm pretty happy with the oil I'm seeing up here on the top of the head. I always start these things. I don't give a shit what engine you're doing. I mean, I've learned the hard way. Make sure that everything's oiling up on top, or I'll tell you what, it'll cause you a lot of grief and misery. A lot of money. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, well, I might fire it up one more time just to make sure she's going to start up okay, and then I got to see what the engine warning light's all about. There's something probably unplugged somewhere, more than likely.